Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Maze Controller Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I'm going to be talking very briefly about Dragonslayer and my upcoming Dragonslayer campaign house rules. This January 6th I will be beginning a new campaign, a Dragonslayer campaign, with my current players plus an additional one or two new players to my group. We're planning on launching with 7 player characters, 7 players, and each has been instructed to create a backup character since Dragon Slayer is definitely an old school OSR, and it definitely is probably more dangerous than even AD&D First Edition, and I'll get into that a little bit as well. But what I wanted to do was do a quick video here to kind of set them in the right mindset and give them some expectations that the campaign will be following along. Without further ado, I'm going to jump right into my presentation of my house rules. Now, my players, as well as others in the comments section, you are welcome to go in there and say whether you like it, whether you don't like it, what you might consider adding to it or whatnot. But and I'll certainly listen to those things, although I might not probably change my mind about it because these are my house rules, and and we'll see how they work out. But I think that initially speaking, these will work out fine for what I'm looking to achieve with the campaign, as far as pacing and risk versus reward and whatnot. So anyway, let's get right into that. And I am going to switch views. And so here we have my Dragon Slayer house rules. And some of these are very, very standard across the board. So the attribute rolls, they're going to roll a 4d6, drop the lowest, and assign as desired. That's almost uniform across all tabletop role-playing games at this point that have attributes for player characters. Hit points, maximum HP at level 1. That's also practically uniform across the board. Although I did include a minimum of 2 HP per level gained. So if they're rolling, let's say a D8 for their hit die, a 1 will become a 2, and that's it, and then anything else above that. So no ones, basically. They don't re-roll a 1. A 1 becomes a 2. All right. Experience points. So Dragon Slayer does not grant experience points for magic items. All right. I am also not granting experience points for coin. So for gold. Uh, all experience points are based on actual doing things, right? So a scene. Now, there might be multiple scenes in a game session, but a scene is kind of a self-contained unit of activity, right? So if they are traveling to a location, the traveling counts as a scene. If they enter into a dungeon, all right, that dungeon counts as a scene. Now, if it's a very large dungeon, like a mega dungeon, or the dungeon has different, different levels or different areas that are, like, say, like the Caves of Chaos, where there are multiple layers, then each of those count as a scene. Exploration. So they will gain 10 experience points for the first room, 20 for the second room, 30, 40, 50, and then 60. Then there's a reset back to 10 XP after a short or long rest. All right. Characters that are armored need to take a short rest after 50 minutes of adventuring. All right, and this is only if skills are used in the room. So they do not get exploration XP for simply walking through a room. It requires that they're in the room for at least one full turn and they're doing things within that room, whether it's searching, finding traps, removing traps, anything, searching for secret doors, or potentially using whatever skills they have. Maybe they're casting in a particular room as well. So it is exploration based on skill use within that room. Combat is based on the monster type, whether they kill them, they drive them off, or they negotiate with them. All right, so monster XP is not only uh, earned from killing, so they can devise other ways of still earning that same experience points. Uh, Interactions, which include social interactions, count as scenes provided skills, or at least one turn is used doing them, and that's one game, in-game turn. So, so those interactions, and basically interacting with a room kind of counts as the same thing. All right, but they're not double dipping on those experience points. Quest events. If they have achieved a minor quest event, that's 15 experience points. A major quest event, 25. A momentous quest event. This is like a serious challenge in combat. They'll gain an extra 50 experience points for that. And then completion of any quest grants them 100 experience points. If they're managing hirelings and they successfully manage their hirelings, in other words, they all survive and they've all been put to some kind of a task, they will gain 15 experience points. 10 is partial, 5 is if they fail. All right. If most of their henchmen or hirelings are killed in their action, they're only going to gain 5 experience points. They've learned from their failure. Carousing. Carousing will produce 1d4 times 50 gold cost. I've cut that down from what was in the rule book, and d4 times 50 XP gained. They can only carouse after after an adventure has been completed. All right, and then once per level. So they can't just, hey, we're just going to continuously carouse because we have a whole bunch of, gold, and we can keep on burning up gold in order to gain 50 experience points or up to 200 experience points based on what they rolled. So not going to deal with that with the example here. In the example, I did a 5-room dungeon. So the dungeon counts as a scene, 15 plus the rooms that they utilize skills in. So that would be 150. The combat, assuming that they had combat, that resulted in 100 experience points gained. Completion equals 365 XP earned for each PC. Now I'm not counting 10% bonus if there's any available there. So average of all classes to reach level 2 is 2,425 experience points. That's the average of all 10 character classes. So it would take approximately between 6 and 7 sessions for all of the classes to level to second level. Barbarian might take 8 or more, and a thief might take 4 or 5. But on the average, between 6 and 7 sessions for every single character class to get to second level. Average for all classes to reach level 3 is actually 4,685, approximately 12 to 13 sessions total. Now that might be 15 or it might be 11 for either the thief and the barbarian on the far extremes, all right, to reach the third. So I kind of like this pacing. I think that spending about 4 months to get to level 3 is a pretty good pacing, and obviously it's going to exponentially grow as they're going up in levels. And I'm assuming that it will probably take closer to a year for the characters to start hitting level 5, and then so on and so forth. Clerics and deities' favored weapons, so will be determined by me, the maze controller. I'll be taking a look at each of the deities that are a possibility in Dragonslayer. Now they're pieced out, they're separated by the various mega dungeons that are out there, but I have the PDF for all four of those mega dungeons. I purchased them on eBay and got a few others, not eBay, I'm sorry, from Drive-Thru RPG, and others I bought straight out. So anyway, I will be modifying the deities with favored weapons so that their clerics would utilize those. Spell bonuses. So I altered this slightly as well. So on an attribute score of 15, they get +1 level. Now, whether that's wisdom for clerics and their subclasses, or intelligence for magic users and their subclasses. A 16 gives you +2 first level spells. All right, so it's an additional on top of 15. These are not accumulative. 17 will give you a +1 second level spell, and 18 a plus third level spell. So a magic user with an 18 intelligence would have 2 first level spells, 1 second level spell, 1 third level spell, additional to their regular level based spell usage. Innate magic reading. Spellcasters can innately read magic of their specific spell type. Magic users can read magic user spell scrolls. Illusionists for illusionists, clerics, and they're obviously their subclasses for clerics, druids, druidic spells, and so on. So they do not have to utilize a spell slot for this, and they can do it. At will. All right. So it never made sense to me that a magic user would be able to even gain spell ability without being able to read magic innately. That's the first thing they're taught, and it doesn't make sense that they would have to expend a spell slot in order to do something. It's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? They have to be able to read magic before they can actually transcribe their first spell to their spell book. It doesn't make sense that would also be read magic at the same time. So that's that. Death ends, death saves. At 0 hit points, unconscious for 1d6 rounds, then revives to 1 hit point. That's straight out from the rules. Chaotic monsters will coup de grace. I changed that from monsters may coup de grace. Chaotic monsters will coup de grace. Undead, except for skeletons, will feed on a fallen foe. So if you go down to 0 hit points against a zombie, a ghoul, or a wight, or anything of those corporeal undead, they will feed. A ghost might continue to attack you to drain even more of your energy. A vampire will feed on you for sure. A skeleton does not feed, so it won't go to feeding on you. It may go to attack another opponent available. From -1 to -9 HP, you have to save versus death or die. Saving results is in unconsciousness. Save results in unconsciousness for 1d6 rounds and revive at revive to 1 hit point afterwards. That's straight from the rules. Failure equals death, straight from the rules. The save is made at an equal negative number of the HP. That's my addition to this. So if you are at -1, you're going to make a death save, or a save versus death, with a -1. All right. If you're -8, you're going to make that save at -8. All right. At 10 or below, your character is dead. There's no save for that. There's no raised dead. That's my addition. Your body cannot be raised dead at 10 or below. Resurrection will only work after a restoration spell is cast first. All right, so you really cannot even be restored and resurrected unless the player party is willing to spend the 40,000 gold cost in order to do that. Plus, they have to find a 16th level cleric willing to do it. So 16th level cleric would have to cast a restoration first. That costs 20,000 gold pieces. And then a resurrection, that costs 20,000 gold pieces. And then there's always the chance you have to make a saving throw versus death from the resurrection anyway. So it could ending up being a total loss anyhow. So that is where I'm kind of going to launch out this this new campaign with. I think that it is a good balance of, I'm switching views. I think that's a good balance as a starting off point. It gives the player characters, some minor advantages, and still maintains the risk, or even increases the risk in the events of them actually falling in combat. So I think that it's like I said, a good balance between making them a little less squishy, at first level, obviously, gives the spellcasters a little bit more spellcasting, gives them a little bit more flavor for, for the clerics to have the weapons, and or paladins or whatnot would have the weapons of their deities' favored weapons as a selection, and then they have the additional spell casting that is a reward for having those higher attributes within their specific attribute of note for the character classes, the spellcasting classes, and frees them up as far as not having to take a read magic for their particular category of magic spells. So they would still have to cast a read magic to read another spell that is outside of their own particular sphere. So anyway, that is my again initial campaign house rules. I'm going to really try not to modify these or add any additional, but I will listen to my players and listen to any other suggestions. If there's something else out there that someone also utilizes that is a real, a real benefit, I think, to the gameplay, then I will certainly consider those and add those in. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. For my players, I'm going to direct you to watch this so that you can get this, straight off the top of my head as I'm putting this thing together. And we'll talk in Discord if you have any concerns or want to hear anything else additional to be added to this rule set. But looking forward to this. We are just a couple weeks away from the start of this new campaign. I'm really looking forward to it. And you all have a great rest of your week. As always, I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen or at a convention table sometime soon. Thanks for stopping in. You all take care.